The Fever suck. They suck. And I mean this. The Fever might win the Commissioner's Cup. I mean this. The Fever on any given game can beat anybody. The Fever on any given game can beat any team in the WNBA. However, when I say that, I also stand by this. There is one reason why the Fever can beat anyone on any given game, and it is number 22. Because, as we saw with the Liberty game, and I'm not counting the Sun game, as we saw with the Liberty, and by the way, the Liberty without John Quayle and without Phoebish are not that good either. Like, it's not like this was this crazy, crazy achievement beating the Liberty without their two most important players. And that's not this crazy achievement. But they need Caitlin to glow nuclear to win a game. Because this roster is a whole bunch of players that want to play slow. I cannot believe I'm saying this. I cannot believe that I'm saying this. But Christy Wallace would be an upgrade on this roster. Like, we currently have 9 players. We currently have such a bad roster that we have to play Colson 10 minutes a game. See, we are playing Sydney Colson, 36-year-old Sydney Colson, more minutes than she's ever played in her career. And people are trying to say that this roster is good. Caitlin Clark is slow. She's slowing. She is slower than last year. But she still plays fast. She still plays with her head up. She's slower than last year. But, like, DeWanna Bonner is, like, obviously, there's bigger things than basketball. I'm not taking a shot on DeWanna Bonner, but it's been an unmitigated disaster for this team. Natasha Howard is the worst fit I have ever seen. Why has she stopped running? She runs for the first 5 possessions of a game and then stops running. She runs for 5 possessions, then doesn't run anymore. And she just keeps chucking threes. Like, it is now at the stage where Caitlin Clark, the team has to play, does not have the personnel to play fast anymore. They do not have the personnel to play fast. I can't believe I'm saying this, but, like, Katie Lou used to run the floor hard. Kelsey Mitchell used to run. Why has Kelsey Mitchell stopped running the floor? She only runs the floor when she gets the ball and goes, meep, meep, I'm going to go 1-on-5 and then realize nothing's on. Either take a layup on 3 of them or dribble, look back, realize no one's there and then dribble the ball back out and shoot a step back long too. Like, why has she stopped running the floor? She takes so much energy playing point guard for some reason. She plays point guard as much as Caitlin Clark plays point guard. Like, she plays point guard as much as Caitlin Clark plays point guard. In the second halves. In second halves, why is Kelsey Mitchell playing point guard? And I don't know if Kelsey Mitchell's regressed, because when Kelsey Mitchell, if you watched her play in China, if you agree, guys agree, subscribe. If you watched her play in China, everything she did was off the ball. Kelsey Mitchell did not play 1 minute of point guard in China. And she was unbelievable. She was unbelievable. She was unbelievable. And now she's gone back to playing, thank you for the $20. It took Jordan 6 years to win. I'm not saying Caitlin Clark's not going to win. I'm saying they're not going to win this year. I'm saying this roster was put together in a, this is the analogy I'm going to give. So, you know when people come into money? You know when people come into money and they come into, like, power, and the first thing they do, instead of, like, looking at their life and seeing what financial moves they can make to benefit them, they go straight and buy the Lambo because they want to show off to everybody. That is what Amber Cox and Kelly Krauskopf did. They bought the Lambo. They didn't want to scout. They didn't even want to scout. They didn't scout. They just signed all the biggest name free agents. Oh, Sid Colson was there with the Aces. We're going to sign her. DeWanna Bonner is a hindsight bad decision. But we're not going to look in France where Monica Cohen-McCanny's dominating, who's averaging, who'd be a perfect fit. We're not going to look in Italy where Kitty Alax has been one of the best players in the league. We're not going to look in Spain to try maybe get the rights to Clara Lundqvist, who's the best rebounding guard, who is a relentless guard. We're not going to go and get Mariana Ortiz from Spain who can run the show at the one and is 6 foot tall, who can run the floor. They bought, someone said a classic car. They bought that. They went out and said, and instead of saying, what coach can we find that wants to play an up-tempo game? What modern basketball coach can we find? We're gonna find the coach who coached the most boring team in basketball last year, and we're gonna bring her in because it's a homecoming. She wants to go to Indiana, and she's missed 2 games because obviously there are non-basketball reasons she left Connecticut Sun. Someone said all the free agents. What other free agents they could have got? How is it that freaking Maddie Westbelt's sister is going out there for the Phoenix Mercury, putting in a lead effort on the defensive end, shooting the ball, and is 100 times better version of Dantas? How is it that you say, you know what, we don't really want Temi because of our plan? They said they didn't get rid of Temi because of the plans. They got rid of Temi because of the plans for Natasha Howard, thinking somehow Natasha Howard was still the same Natasha Howard from 2018. Like, all a team has to do against the Fever, and I mean this, is try. And that is scary. That is scary. All a team has to do is try. Is that not scary to you guys? That last year, Lexi Hell's another one. Last year, the Indiana Fever imposed their game on other teams. All the team has to do is try. And the Indiana Fever go, Caitlin, go stand in the corner. Caitlin, go stand in the corner, and we're going to let Kelsey Mitchell take the ball up. Like, the Indiana Fever, at least, the one positive thing about this is that they're in a Commissioner's Cup final. They're not expected to win this year. It's an everything problem. Someone said it's not a coaching problem, it's a player problem. It's an everything problem. It's an everything problem. You have got 2 players in Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston, and 3 players. You've got Caitlin Clark and Leah Boston and Lexi Hull, who thrive in a system that Natasha Howard, Sid Colson, and DeWanna Bonner don't thrive in. And then you've got Kelsey Mitchell, whose natural instinct is to do dumb shit, but can be very good when she doesn't have the ball in her hands and you're putting the ball in her hands. It is the worst possible. Like, it's just a terribly constructed team. And if we're talking about construction, pure construction, the Suns suck. The Connecticut Suns suck. Just in general. They suck. So I'm not going to complain about them. The Mercury are, like, of all the playoff teams, the Aces are a worst constructed roster. If we want to look at a worst constructed roster in the Fever, and I'm not saying a worst roster, but worst constructed. Like, the Fever, GMs, coaches, and everything, watched them play after the Olympics, watched them go 8-2, and said, nah, we want none of that. We want none of that. So, let's be real. If we're talking about roster construction, the Sparks are a badly constructed roster. The Sky are a better constructed roster than the Fever. They're not better than the Fever. They're not better than the Fever. They're a better constructed roster. The only problem with the Sky is they have the 2 non-shooting bigs. But the Fever also have 2 non-shooting bigs. Let's not forget, the Fever also have 2 non-shooting bigs. But at least their non-shooting bigs try. Rebound. The Wings are the Wings suck. The Wings absolutely suck. They are, like, letting Liz Smith go is the best thing. They lost in the Liz Smith lottery. The only teams with worse constructed rosters in the Fever are the Aces. The Aces have a worse constructed roster in the Fever. They do. The Aces, the Wings, I'm ignoring the Sun because they suck, and maybe the Sparks. Maybe the Sparks right now. And the only positive is that this team is 6-6 despite all of this. They're in a Commissioner's Cup final. Look, they can beat the Lynx in the Commissioner's Cup final. They can win that game. All it takes to beat the Lynx is for Caitlin Clark to go nuclear in that game. They can win that game. And if they come out of this season winning the Commissioner's Cup, you're the 5th seed and you're going to get blitzed by the Atlanta Dream in the playoffs or the Phoenix Mercury. There's no way to beat either of them. There's absolutely no way. Bring Ari McDonald in. Bring a 7-foot Ronald McDonald and play him center, and they're still not beating the Atlanta Dream or the Phoenix Mercury in the playoffs. You come into the playoffs, you lose to either of those teams. In an ideal scenario, if I'm the Indiana Fever, of the top 4 teams, the best chance they have is the New York Liberty. is they end up as the 7th or 8th seed. They then face the New York Liberty in the first round, and they beat them in a best of 3, and then they maybe get a bit of a rhythm, and then they go and lose in the second round. But I think the Liberty are the only of one of those 4 teams they're going to beat in the playoffs. And then you just regroup. You regroup. You let Bonner walk into retirement. You don't re-sign Natasha Howard. You don't re-sign Kelsey Mitchell unless things change. You keep Caitlin Clark, Sophie Cunningham, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, and Michaela Timpson. You keep those players, and every other signing, you look for 3 things: shooting, motor, and size. Shooting, and honestly, even just shooting motor. Shooting and motor. If you get athletic shooters, which you can find, but you have to be creative. You have to go to France. You have to go to Italy. You have to go to Spain. You have to look for these places. But the front office were like, we're not going to scout. We're not going to scout. We're just going to sign. We're just going to fall for the hype. You know, free agents want to come here, so we're going to just sign all the biggest free agents. Just like now we can afford to get these free agents, so we're going to bring them in. Just like a newly rich person, now we can afford to get the Lambo, we get the Lambo. But the good thing is that it clearly doesn't work. It clearly didn't work. And they have a choice to make. They have a big choice to make. Do they stick with their coach going into next year? I think if Stephanie White shows no ability to adapt throughout this year, I'm going to give Stephanie White till the end of the year before I'm calling for her job. But other than that, they need to regroup. And ironically enough, like, it is just finding athletes. They need to regroup. They need to start regrouping now. They need to be watching Eurobasket. They need to be watching every single league. The Fever have infinite money. They have infinite money. They're owned by Herb Simon. Herb Simon needs to have a full-time scout in France, a full-time scout in Spain, a full-time scout in Italy, and a full-time scout in Turkey. And yes, I fell for the hype too. I fell for the hype of these signings too. But thank you for the $20. Thank you so much, IDK James. Hopefully, go to Indy for the Sparks. This Fever should beat the Sparks. But like, the Valkyries just tried today. They tried today and they beat them. The Dream bullied them. Like, this is a team who plays soft. I'm not saying they're bad, they're soft. I say they play soft. If a team tries to punk them, they play soft. And yeah, this team needs Caitlin Clark. And the Valkyries are going to win a title within 5 years. Let's be honest. They're going to win a title within 5 years. But look, at the end of the day, it is what it is. At the end of the day, it is what it is. It's a badly constructed roster. We ride off this season. I'm riding off this season right now. The Fever are not winning. And I think a lot of Fever fans having this like delusion that this is a good roster is just wrong as well. And again, I've said this, like, I am a Fever fan because I think the Fever are the most fun team to watch in the WNBA. That's subject to change. Like, there's only one team that I'm like out and out a fan of, and it's Leeds United. And I've gotten so much heartbreak from supporting Leeds that sometimes I'm like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. But it's subject to change. And if this doesn't change, if people are saying continue to watch negative crap, if you watch this game and you came out with any other conclusion, you're just lying to yourself. But yeah, someone said the Fever are streaky is the best feeling in the world. No. The Fever used to be able to be fun when she wasn't playing well. Caitlin Clark is the Fever. She is the Fever. And the problem is that now there's no system to hide some of her flaws. But yeah, plenty of games left. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to be somewhere between 5 and 7. They're going to be a playoff team. They're going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. They might win the Commissioner's Cup. They're not as cooked as last year. But let's be real. This roster is worse constructed than last year. Not a worse roster, but worse constructed.